We're live. Welcome, everybody, to Nico Bajerski Truth Bomb podcast. Sound check, everybody. If you could let me know. Nico, do you want to speak? And let's see if people can hear you.
Mic check, 1, 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Hear me, guys?
Oh, the good old days, Nico. You won't remember them, but for me, we had some laughs when we were kids and we were watching some fantastic comedians. But now that kind of era's gone now, and we have to be careful what we say in a world of sensitives. But it's great to have you here, Nico. I'm just waiting for a couple of people to just jump on and say hello, and just let us know if the mics sound okay, if we both sound fine. Just a quick yes from anybody for the sound check. There's a delay. There's a slight delay, Nico, with people asking, or asking questions.
Nobody wants to be the first today.
Of course they do. Everybody wants to be the first on here. Everybody's positive on here.
Yeah.
Here we go. There you go. Hello. Yes. Thank you very much. Look, we've got loads of yeses.
Nice.
Hi, Nico and Mark. So we've got some lovely souls on here. I think this may be the third time we've done an interview together, Nico, right?
Yeah. Time goes so fast, right? It's probably one a year at the minute. It's I think it's been quite a while since the last one, actually.
Yeah, and the wonderful thing when we sat here, right? What for everybody else it might be, you might not understand this, but as Nikos sat down there and I'm sat here, and it was my birthday. I was 58 years old a few days ago. Isn't it beautiful, Nico, to look at me and think, this is what I'm going to look like when I'm 58 years old.
I won't be so bad. You look good.
I'll give you a fiver later, son. So everybody, welcome to the podcast. Tonight we've got a wonderful soul in the house. Tonight we're interviewing Nico Bajerski. Did you ever have a middle name, Nico? Were you ever given a middle name?
I wasn't, and you know what? I'm quite happy that I didn't. It's good. I like it. No middle name, no.
Brilliant. I just thought about that. Like,
I've made a few up over the years, but no, I've not.
I've heard a few as well, yeah. But anyway, Nico, it's wonderful. So if you don't know who Nico is, he's the founder of a beautiful family, I would say academy, right? You call it an academy.
Yeah. It
says an academy, and this academy has grown from a few mats to an absolutely awesome gym with amazing students. I watch you every day, Nico. I can't help it. You're my son, and I see the growth, and I see the loyalty and the love and the compassion and everything that goes into this gym. But just a quick summary of you. You were probably one of the youngest black belt jiu-jitsu I guess fighters, and now you're a trainer and a coach. And what we see is that some people say these things, but you actually can see it with you. You actually are training champions. Isn't that right?
Yeah, we are training champions. So in terms of the youngest, so I'm 32 now. When I was 29, I got my black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So at the time I was one of the youngest in the country for sure, but in the last 3 years it's gone sky high. We've created some of the highest level grapplers in the UK in record breaking time, British European champions. We've built one of the largest independent martial art gyms in the UK in terms of facility, students, and on a weekly basis, we'll be diving more into this. As we say, I'm teaching over 250 athletes a week. I've got about 5 champions on the roster, 15 to 25 police officers, public security personnel, and over 100 juniors. And that's really the beauty, is teaching the next generation, the juniors, the lessons of martial arts. That's really what's starting to excite me the older I get.
You're really passionate, eh? You come across really passionate.
Yeah, well, somebody was asking me this the other day. They were saying, what gives you the most buzz? What gives you the most buzz? You
Yeah.
know, creating the champions, or you know, what gives you the most buzz out of teaching? And I was saying, do you know what? It used to be that you like making the champions so good. That's great and fantastic. But what's then? I was talking to two young lads that I'm teaching how to teach at the moment. And I said, what is it you want, mate? And they were saying, well, we want to be like you, the trainer of champions. You know, we want champions. We want all this stuff. I went, yeah, but then what? But then what? The only thing that will keep you going in the martial arts and coaching game year after year after year is enhancing lives. And there is no better feeling, as myself, a dad of three young boys,
Hmm.
of watching a young junior's face change on the way out of the academy. Because, you know, for me, that will, you can never get enough of that. You can never get enough of enhance, even though, you know, we'll talk more about this, but you can never get enough of that. That's for sure.
Really interesting. Actually, it was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Um, how do you keep a good grounding, and how do you keep an academy free from egos? What's the secret to that?
You ask some good questions and you're gonna yeah, you're a good interviewer. Yeah. So how do I keep it free from egos and stuff like this? Well,
Yeah.
look, I got into teaching martial arts a bit like, you know, a bit like your career. I sort of got into it by accident. I wanted to be a personal trainer, and I started out teaching kickboxing, then got into MMA at a very young age. So despite my age, I've been teaching now for 13 years. So of course, I've had people try to take liberties, etc. And I'm a different personality when I started, so I've sort of been through it all. And yeah, egos in the martial art world are quite vast. I always say the martial art mats are a microcosm for the wider world. You know, so
Oh,
you will see so many egos, but we don't try and push them. We just try and control the egos because, specifically for someone getting in a cage, being a cage fighter, you ain't going to get in there without a bit of an ego, are you? You know, you're not going to say, I want to be a cage fighter. I'm really humble. I want to be a cage fighter. You want to prove to the world you're the toughest guy. So
right.
you ain't going to get in the cage without a bit of an ego. So I don't say we're going to get rid of your ego. I say we're going to control your ego.
Nice.
You know what I mean? I mean, like we've had as long as the ego doesn't come and start getting competitive with me as the coach, or abusing other students, that's fine. But you know, we have a lot of things in place. What we do at the gym, I've got a lot of protocols I've built up over the years for, let's say, students that take liberties of the martial arts that I teach outside the gym when they shouldn't be doing, when it's not self defense. We
Right.
have a few protocols there. And stuff like that. But for the most part, I would say that when somebody walks into my gym now is not what it were 5 years ago, and it's clearly a professional outfit. So it'd be weird for somebody to come in and try and be a bit, you know, like, oh, look at me, when they just get humbled quite quick. And the right people will stay. 5 years ago, I would have tried to get everybody to stay, but eventually you go, I'm not going to try to get you to stay because I just know you're not going to fit in, you know.
Yeah.
So it's fine, you know, you go somewhere else, and there are gyms for people like that.
It's funny. It's funny you say that, but I guess that kind of fits in for most people's circles. You know,
Yeah,
you tend to be, you gravitate towards your own family after a while. I always
yeah,
remember your mum and me. We were hairdressers and we were side by side, and then there was Heather and Sam, and we all found that the clients that we got either were like your mum and they would cry quite a lot and pour their heart out to her. Mine were all crazy. Heather's
mm,
were all serious, and we kind of we have this energy that attracts like
yeah.
for like almost. So do you find that in your gym that they're very much in your way of thinking and feeling?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Because for the most part, a martial art gym, you know, yeah, as you said, like I'm the coach, so whatever gym you go to, if you go to the mat, you'll sort of tend to get the vibe, and they go, "You quite like the coach. You're all quite like the coach," and it's because, like you say, like attracts like, you know, 100%. And the problem you've got is, which we don't have anymore, it's when you get extradite groups. So you've got other guys who are like at the gym that might be a little bit more powerful. They start challenging the boss. They try and get their own little group together, and they're a bit like that. And you learn so many lessons over the
Yeah.
years of how to
How, how do
mitigate that.
how do you deal with that, Nico, when you're finding that there's a kind of group and they're splintering off from what you're trying to do? How do you deal with that?
Well, the first part of that is about 6 years ago. In 2 days, I kicked about 15 of my only 30 members out of the gym.
Wow.
Yeah, and didn't go down well, but I were right because within 6 months I quadrupled how many members I had. Yeah, I just thought
Smart.
taking advantage of someone's good nature here, and then eventually you go sort of get what's going on now. I get it, and then you learn the lessons from that, and then you grow and you develop, and and you just see it and you see it and you think. I have one of my sayings is people don't hate you, they hate your position often. So you learn not to take it personally because you go outside of the gym, we'd probably get on, wouldn't we? It's because you would like my position and you want my position. So you have an issue with me because of my position. So you learn not to take these things seriously and take them to heart, which I used to take to heart. I used to take them to heart. But then I realized they don't hate you, they just hate your position.
Wow.
The better you are, the more of a mirror you are. That saved me from going crazy a lot. Even lately, I've had a few others acting a bit weird again, and you think you've been through this before, Nico. Stop letting it get to you. It's happened
Yeah.
before, and it'll happen again, and it'll happen to everybody else. It's just how the world works. It's just human psychology.
Smart, smart, very smart, Nico. We can put that into so many categories, like companies that people on here are probably working for major corporations, and the fight to get to the top, the fight to
Mm.
you work alongside somebody and they get promoted, then next thing they hate you. It's like,
Yeah,
wow,
I'll give
I'm
you an
so.
example. This is how much I believe in those words. There's another coach in Halifax who was not as he's very successful himself in his own career. I have barely spoke to him, and he said some quite nasty words towards me and the academy and stuff like that. Very nasty words. Somebody messaged me the other day and they said they was asking about coming to the academy, and I says, where have you trained before? And they told me this guy's gym, and I said, he's a great coach. Are you sure you want to leave? And he went, yeah, we want to leave. I went, okay, come to us. And I thought, do you know what? There's your karma, because I know for me that guy's just hurting. He's hurting, and I feel sorry for him. So the more you want to do that, fine, because I don't need to go down that energy. I'll just say
No,
okay, all
absolutely.
good. And it comes back to you.
I see it this way. It's a lot to do with fear, Nico. Fear kind of
100%.
makes somebody kind of lose the plot a little bit, and like you're a bit like me. You're a bit of a loner when it comes to doing what you want to do, because you know what you want to do, you know your goals, you know your aspirations, you know what you want in life. Whereas a lot of people need that sense of others around them and the need for people's opinions and thoughts and all that. Whereas you are an independent, so you're too busy doing your thing. You're too busy to
Yeah,
bitch about other people and fear losing your clients, because it's your job and you
yeah.
don't see any other way. And it's like that with my work. I was like that 20 years ago. I just couldn't believe how people could be that way, especially in the
Mhm,
spiritual community.
mhm,
But it's a good thing, Nico. It's a good thing.
mhm.
It keeps you grounded. So how do you keep your ego at bay, Nico?
So for me, with the ego stuff, again, you can't particularly have one after a long time, because eventually, you go, I'm never going to be the best anyway. As long as I'm the best version of myself,
Hmm.
that's fine, So you've got to lead by example. You've just got to lead by example. And, there's a time, as I say, there's a time and a place for ego. There's a time and a place for anger. There's a time and a place for being competitive. It's just knowing how to control. We all have a bit of an ego. It'd be weird for us to say we've not got an ego. We all want to conquer. We all want to do good. And that's what I say to the guys at the gym. The problem with ego is when you push it on other people to feel good. So if you use your ego to go, I want to be the best,
Right.
and start training super hard, that's fine. the problem with ego is when you start being, pointing the finger at somebody, say I'm better than you. That's when it's an issue.
Yeah.
So, for me, as the years go by, I don't know about you, but you sort of get less and less of an ego every time, because you go, I don't really care anymore. I'm happy with who I am. I've achieved everything that I want to achieve. I'm a dad. I've got on a successful gym. I teach juniors at the gym. Everything else now is just a bonus. We have people. I bring people. I tell you what. I'll give you an example.
Hmm.
We had a guy come to the gym, a guy called Chris Leeson, and this guy is basically my age. He's a black belt, one of the top UK black belts. He's bigger and stronger, and when we grapple, he can tap me out. Nobody in the gym knew he was there, but they saw a new guy there, big strong guy. And I taught a technique. I says, guys, I'm going to introduce you to someone now. He watched my technique and he was sat with everybody. I said, this guy's called Chris Leeson. He's one of the top UK black belts. He's going to now teach a technique. He then taught the technique, and then everybody looked around and looked at me and him. And instead of getting weird like some other people would, and being like, that boosts me and them, because they go, he's obviously comfortable with his own skill. He's comfortable teaching in front of
Totally.
him. And
Totally.
that it goes the opposite way. And then people go, do you know what? We like Nico even more. And then it boosts me up even more, because I'm comfortable. And people see power in comfort. They don't see power, people see straight through bullshit.
Yeah.
If I was getting there weird with another top black belt, they go, he's a bit insecure, isn't he? Do you know what
Totally.
I mean? I don't know.
Totally. There's so much psychology in it. It's unreal.
There
All
is.
right, I'll just fire a few questions at you, Nico. Why do you think, let's just say let's tackle it this way.
Yeah.
Give me 3 reasons when you look at people who come into your gym at the first time. Why do they come to your gym? What reasons in their life that they come to the gym? What makes them want to come? Not about the academy and how brilliant it is, but
Mm.
what are the reasons that people mainly come to
Yeah.
train?
Okay, I'll just thought of 3 there, try to quickly box them off, summarize them. Obviously, listen, nearly 2% might want to fight. 2% might want to fight. 50% think they do. Only 2% want to fight. Let's be honest. Not many get in a cage. Come on. We have it. If I want to be a cage fighting, no, well, okay, let's go. Well, And then all the obvious your guys might know is simple stuff. They want to get in shape, lose weight, health and fitness, self-defense, confidence. But what I'm starting to realize a lot more now, and what I'm working on a lot more now, is parents ringing me up about the juniors. So what they will do is they will ring me up, and they will, because I'm starting to get well known for this now. My teachings with the kids, they'll go emotional control, patience, um, deeper things like this, which we can teach through lessons of martial arts. So I got a phone call the other day, very common now, of a parent saying, I want to bring my son down, but he gets angry all the time. He's angry. I want to take his anger out. So I say, okay, bring let's say bring James down. Happened the other week. Speaking to the parents in front of James and saying, oh, he just gets angry. He's been a bit of a bully at school. He's getting angry all the time. I said, okay, well, just leave James and me. You watch the class over there. It's all good. So we start teaching the class. I teach Jamie what's going on. Okay, Jamie. One of the biggest lads in the junior class, to be fair, you can tell he's a bit of a boyo. I says, okay, Jamie, what's anger? How's this anger working out for you then? Is it going all right for you? He went, nah, just people say names for me and stuff. I don't like it. Let's punch him. I said, okay, that's fine. Get your gloves on, Jamie. I said, okay. I said to one of my junior purple belts, someone a lot smaller, really placid. I went, he's going to get in the cage, one of my purple belts, and you're going to get angry, Jamie, and you're going to get angry, James, and he's just going to jab you a little bit, and let's see how your anger works out for you. So he's getting all angry in the cage. One of my young purple belts, just little jabs on the nose. He's getting more and more angry as his kid, throwing big wild punches. The bigger wild punches that are coming in, James is getting hit more in the head now, isn't he? At the end of it, he's wound up. I said, just sit down, calm yourself down. I says, this anger, how did that work out for you in the cage there? It's not very well. It didn't go very well if you did it. I said, so do you think anger's the right way to go moving forward? I said, have you noticed something else? I said, do you get angry off the mats with your words. Do you think people can control your anger with words and then you're open? Are you open? And they went, yeah. So eventually we sorted all this out.
Mm.
Next thing the parents come along and go, he's listening now, isn't he? And then you go, well, there we go. Someone else is coming in. Someone else is coming in. And on often we use the martial arts and how we teach in the ring and the mats
Mm.
for the kids to understand stuff through martial arts and the words. And you know, eventually they get the hang of it. But it's all well and good for the parents saying, stop getting angry. When a martial art coach says, okay, you get angry and let's see what happens.
Yeah,
That's just
fantastic.
one example.
Brilliant example. That's fantastic. Um, do you do you sometimes feel that one of the reasons that you might not have mentioned was the family connection and being around other people, which seems to be these days gone, it's lost. Nobody wants to be around anybody because of the phone and what have you. But really, when they walk into that dojo, that gym, they feel like that they're a family. They feel comfortable, protected. They feel like that, yeah, they feel protected in that place. But do you feel that that's part of it as well, that keeps people coming?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my heart goes out to all the kids now. You would call them the Gen Zs. They brought up with what we're talking on now, aren't they? That's all they've got. They brought up on that phone, and they don't get to go out and play like we did as kids. They're just on the phone all the time, and they brought up on drill music and violence and knives. So basically, everything we teach at the gym goes against what they want. One of the biggest reasons the parents bring them to the gym, right? So they're not on the phone for 2 hours. That's one thing. Forget the martial arts. They ain't on the phone for 2 hours. They're actually interacting. There's nobody with a knife in my gym. So then they've got no knives around them. They're doing health and fitness. They're having a laugh. We let them doing loads of fun. Then we're talking. They're opening the mouth. They're communicating. There's no video games. So yeah, it might not be on the street like what it were, but in a way, it's very, very important for kids. And yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the family connection and stuff like that, of course, when we're together, it's a tribe and a vibe. It's a community. All the kids get to play with each other and they build friendships and things. And away from the gym, they look out for each other and they've got their own back. So I mean, like I'm not going to lie, I sometimes have to tell the parents certain things not to say to the kids when they're at the gym as well, but in a very polite way. And you often find that well, you not often find a lot of the kids are exactly who the parents say they are. They're who they say they are. I had a guy the other day. I had to take him to one side and I said, "Will you stop telling your kid he's wrong all the time and he's stupid?" I took him outside of the gym. I went, "Look, I'm not telling you how to parent, but what do you think your kid's going to be if you tell him he's wrong and stupid all the time? He's going to think he's wrong and stupid. He's not wrong and stupid. You're labeling him as that. He's quite a smart kid. I've seen it." So yeah, and eventually we all come together. The parents then get involved, and then we have family classes, and yeah, it works really well.
Wow, Nico, that's absolutely amazing. For one thing, even to have the confidence to take a parent out and just say something like that is a wonderful thing, because no
Takes a lot for me
parent,
to say that though. I don't do it often. It's when they're
no,
shouting, you know.
no, no parent wants to hear that anybody tell them how to parent the children. So
Yeah.
you must have done it in like you say, you take them outside and you've got respect for parents, and it is very easy for some parents to mimic or not break the mold of their parents. So
Mm.
they're acting out what they heard, so that they don't know any difference. So it's great that you're helping families as well to break the mold of their family. So that's lovely. I wanted to ask you, just on a side note, Nico, I want to ask you about the schooling system. Do you think there's any lack in the schooling system when children come to you? Do you think there's something missing out of the school system that should be adopted?
I would say everything I do is the opposite end of the schooling system that they can't teach at school unless you've got a teacher that says certain things to kids. Yeah, I mean, what are you at school? You're either right or you're wrong. So this is another lesson: anger. Are you wrong or you're right? Or so I'll give an example. Another example here. And they do. They base their intelligence on school. Okay, so I had another junior come into the gym. He said he threw his gloves on the floor. He said, "I'm getting it wrong again. I'm getting it wrong. I'm stupid at everything, getting it wrong." So I says, "Hey up, you lot." I says, "Give him a clap. We've got another wrong. We've got another wrong." Everyone starts clapping. I says, "Hey up, you lot." I says, "How many times do we go through wrong to get to right?" They say 10. I say 10 times. I says, "Do you know much about yin and yang, young man?" He says, "No." I says, "How many times?" I says, "How are you going to get to right without the wrong?" He says, well. I says, you come here to be wrong to get to the right. You understand?" I says, "I'll give you an example." I says, "Let me show you this technique. Just to say martial arts off the mat. I went for a knee cut guard pass. I'm going to double down on this technique, mate." I says, "I'm convinced I'm right, but I know I'm wrong. I get my back taken, don't I?" I says, "I'll ask you a question." I says, "Have you ever been in an argument and you know you're wrong, but you carry on thinking that you're right because you don't want to lose?" I says, "Sometimes the right thing to be is wrong." I says, "Have you
Yeah.
been in an argument and know you're wrong, you lost a mate, you see mum and dad like that? You know what I mean? Next thing, can we join up? Can we join up like that?" I went, "Look, I'm not here to teach you certain things like that, but what I will teach you is one thing." I say, "You're not ever wrong. You can't get to right without wrong. You're not stupid, right? You know, anger's not wrong either. There's a place for anger.
Yeah.
Patience is, you can be patient or not." So I just try to get the juniors to be as centered and as focused as possible to control them, because as long as you can control yourself and maintain this person within, whoever comes and targets you, bam, 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 as long as you can control yourself, you're winning. You know, so we do teach things that the schooling system can't teach, and a big one is, look, just because you are not the best at education, not the best at academia, pen and paper, does not equal success. There's three main ways of success. Academia, you've got artistic ways, entrepreneurship ways, and many more. Again, I could go down another rabbit hole of how we explain that to the juniors, but I say, don't forget, you lot, and some of the most successful rich people on this planet did not well at school and they
Mm.
dropped out. So don't ever think that. Yes, try your best, whatever, but don't base your knowledge and your smarts on how well you do at school, because it is not the case. But obviously, the schooling system in itself 100% tries to get the kids to do that. And obviously, another thing that I'm a big believer in is, I really don't think the schooling system is right for boys. Not all girls either. But I know me, and I know a lot of lads like to get out and play and be stupid and learn through being creative, not to sit at school for 8 hours every day from the age of 4 years old. It is not right, and it is set up to program you. So when you get older, you are a sheep ready for the matrix. All right. Obviously, you might not disagree with that. I mean, you probably don't, but a lot of people may do. That's my opinion. And when my kids come home from school with a lot of homework, I'm like, okay, let's just do this homework. But I don't agree that you should be doing it either. But, it's what it is.
No, no, it's really interesting, Nico. I think that's why there's a huge increase of homeschooling, and my hats off to anybody who homeschools now, because you bring up a child free from the prison bars that are invisible, that we used to sit in front of the window and wish that we were
Yeah.
outside, and that was a sense of trauma based as well. It's a psyop in itself, but I do understand as well. We do have to obviously learn how to read and write and add up. These days, you go into any shopping centre and you hand some money over, they don't even know how to give you the change. They can't even add it up without a
Mm.
calculator. So there is a balance with all of this. But, beautiful wisdom that you've got there, Nico. Let me just shift you onto something else now. Just imagine it's Sunday morning. There's nobody going to the gym. It's empty. You're the first person to walk in there. You open the door and you walk around the gym. What's your thoughts, Nico?
Uh, Memories, to be fair. And I try
Wow.
to remember them on purpose. I try to think of these memories because time passes so fast. And sometimes I'll make a point to stand there and look around and remember a conversation over there. I remember a conversation there. I remember a bit of a conversation over there. And you go, oh, right, because we're always so busy, aren't we, thinking about the future. And Jim Carrey said this really well. I like Jim Carrey. He's fantastic. He said saw something of. He said the reason why most people are stressed out and depressed is because we're future traveling in our brains all the time. He says, I know nothing but being present. And I thought, you know, that's the best way to be, right? It's so difficult. If my mind wanders, I'm always thinking about looking after people, paying bills, taking care of my next classes. I'm never thinking about being present. So I suppose if I'm in the gym, often I do try and remind myself, shut up thinking about the future and just try and, remember a few memories a little bit. And it's there's a lot of them in that room, like there will be in your studio there. I suppose if you sit back and you go, I remember that, I remember that, I remember that.
It's like you said, most people don't have the time for their memories, so
Mm,
it's good for all of us to, embrace what you've just said. But if you just ask anybody who walks down a street, they won't even know what street they were walking down. They won't have even stopped and looked around. They're just going from A to B, and that's all they see. And
yeah,
it's great for what you said. And Jim Carrey, you're right, he's got some excellent quotes. And yeah, fantastic. So.
he's doing it again.
Uh, how do you see the world, and where do you see it heading when you are working with children?
Where do I see the world heading when I work with children?
Because our children are our future.
I mean, you said this actually. I was watching one of your videos and I liked this. You said that the kids don't remember the past, they only remember what we know now. So the future is best. They won't know the past, they will only know their past and not the past of the past. So, I mean, kids want to be kids. Kids ultimately want to be kids. So the black screen's no good. I don't let my guys spend any time on the phones or video games. Really, they play instead. I feel sorry for the next generation of kids because the parents are hooked on their phones. I make a point to put mine away on a weekend, especially. It breaks my heart when I hear stories of kids saying, "Will you play with me? Get off your phone." It's depressing and it's sad. It's embarrassing for the parents, to be fair. So I think there's more control in the world, and that's a sad thing. The older you get, it's harder to get anywhere in life. It's harder to, we've constantly been more watched. We've constantly been more monitored. It's harder to, you try and make a few quid on the side, you try to tax that money as well. Kids have got it hard. It's harder. It's going to be harder for kids to be anywhere because it's every generation that passes by, there is less and less freedom. I see it all the time. And I just, yeah, I feel like, in the future, it sounds a bit bad. Obviously, we're going into the artificial intelligence age. With that, there's I suppose a few good things. Maybe with medical advancements, it might be a few of them if you need surgery, perhaps. But other than that, no, I feel like we're too watched and we spend too much time on phones. But as I said, martial art gyms very important for kids. Things like that, very important for kids.
Totally agree with you, and all by design too. I think the
Yeah.
system is creating the very structure that you're seeing and witnessing, as we
Mm.
all are. Children are getting more and more strangleholded by their freedom, and I remember being a kid and getting on a bike. I'm sure everybody who's watching this is my age or a little bit younger. We got on our bikes, and our mums and dads had no clue where we were. We were riding for 15 kilometers, places that like if our parents knew where we went, it's like, but we were free. We were safe. The world was wonderful. There was no judgment. The doors were open. All our doors were open. Kids used to come into, my mates used to come through the back door to the house. It was open. We'd all play in each other's houses, and we'd go everywhere to the parks. My God, isn't it awful to think that my beautiful grandchildren there don't have that freedom? And you have been programmed because you won't let your kids go out. There's no way you'll let your kids go out at 10 years old and 12 years old to the town centre on their own, right? Because because we've been programmed to say, one, you're a bad father or you're a bad mother. Two, there's perverts out there, they could get stolen. And the fear that's created in this world is such a dark illusion that we now are at quite a bad place, really. How do you feel about your children, Nico? How do you allow them to have that little bit of freedom that they need?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, like this, right? Each generation that goes back is more and more free, more and more free. So if you go back 500-600 years ago, a 15-year-old in the medieval era was a full-grown adult with his house, you know. And then if you go back to, like, say, your generation, you could go 15 miles. You go back to, well, or whatever you wanted all day. You know, you go back to when I were born. We was out all day and no phones, but there will have been there will have been a few more controls than you. You go to my kids now. The reason why I wouldn't let my kids out, it's not because I wouldn't want them to. It's because there's no other kids out. So then you go, what are these three just doing? I suppose it is a sheep mentality, but at the end of the day, you have to protect your kids. And if there's no other kids out, that's it. But I tell you what I do. There is no phones in my house for the kids or video games. Hugo asked for a Nintendo Switch. And I says, okay, you're 7 now. I'll get you a Nintendo Switch. Your first video game. He's played it 2 times. Doesn't want to. He wants to talk. I tell you, me and Hugo, the eldest, we talk a lot. I try and give him a lot of lessons through nature as well. So I'll take him out and we'll go into nature and we'll chat. And we'll talk a lot about, you know, life and learning through nature. We don't really, you know, interact on games and stuff like that. And we don't do any of that. So we are a step ahead. And I feel like if you get older with that and you're used to communicating with your parents and other people in the real world, and working hard, you're a step ahead. The Gen Zs now, the number one profession they want when they're older is to just do something online, which is fine, but they don't want to work. They will not work. And you need to work as a young man. You need to go and work. It's good for you. It's good for you. You need to go and work. There's nothing wrong with it, but they just don't want to work. And I kind of get it. With the going back to what you said, with the cost of living crisis and all that stuff, and how we're making it hard for you to pay your bills. If they go to work, they can kind of work out that they can only just pay the bills, but not put food on the plate. So I get it. The system is absolutely broken, and it's very much broken for people that are, you know, coming of age now to work, that are like 16, 17. It's very, very difficult for them. And my heart does go out to them. It must be hard work. So I spend my days now going to work, trying to invest, work, give my kids lessons, because I feel like it's going to be difficult for them. So I try and go out now, so when they get older, they have got a fighting chance. Because I think if it's hard now, in 30 years' time, not looking good, is it? So I do it for that reason, really. That's a big driving point of mine. What we're talking about right now is for the kids when they're older. I think it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. You're going to be strangled from the system in every way. So I'm just trying my best to give them a fighting chance of, you know, not having to work their ass off all their life just to be watched and told what they can do 24/7. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a great way of bringing your children up, like you say. All that time that you spend with them is gold. It's golden nuggets of truth, value to your children. They'll remember you when you're an old man and say, you know, my dad was great. He taught to us, and even at times where they're not happy with what dad says, when they grow up, they realize that dad was right. And I think that's a wonderful. I mean, I think you're a fantastic dad, and I'm very proud of you. Absolutely. So. That said, let's bring the energy back up again. Tell us,
Sorry.
tell us your gym. It's in Halifax, West Yorkshire. Tell us if you were talking to somebody now who's watching this, who was thinking about maybe bringing their children or even coming to the gym, tell us when they open that door what the facilities are, what to expect, what's your goals, what's your things that you're wanting to achieve in this next year, just so that they're, wow, I want to be part of that.
Yeah, I mean, 2025 is going to be a big year. As I said, it doesn't. I don't say these words lightly when I said we've built one of the biggest martial art gyms in the UK. We've got we're one of the largest matted areas. We've got a cage. We've got shower changing facilities. I've brought in one of the top S&C coaches in the country, in Mikey. Um, I work with a guy called Jason. He works with the law side of stuff. So we've got it all covered. BMA is a full system for self-defense. So whether people come in now because they want to be a cage fighter, ring fighter, self-defense, hobbyist, gradings, whether we've got a lot of police, we've got a lot of prison officers down there, door staff, hundreds of juniors. There's many different reasons people join my gym, and they've got their own very important reasons. Whether that's for the career, the job, or for the kids. Not everybody's trying to be a fighter. Some people are got their own fights, and we've got systems in place to look after everybody. It's constantly growing. We're constantly working on everything that we do. But I mean, for the most part, the average person who's going to come down, he's just going to want to love martial arts and get into martial arts. Once you get involved in martial arts, you realize, especially at a gym like mine, and there's a few others out there, a punch and a kick and a choke is the tip of the iceberg. It's as far from it. You learn a lot about yourself, which you will not be able to learn in many other industries other than martial arts. You'll learn what you're capable of, what you're not capable of. You learn a lot about yourself. And martial wisdom is pretty deep, it's pretty unique. And the more I get involved in it, the more I appreciate martial more than the art. So I love the art, I love what we do, but the martial is the deeper side of stuff. And I work a lot more with the martial than the art, whether that, even if that's with a public security personnel or with a junior trying to control his emotions, it's the same thing. It's you know, we've got 250 students. We've got 350 students at HQ and worldwide. 200 of them train at BMA, and there's a reason 150 are international that have come and gone that still align with BMA, and it's because of the martial lessons. Even my students now that are competing in Thailand, getting like George right now, I could list them, Dubai, Thailand, that are champions. They still say thanks to BMA and coach, because it's the fundamental martial lessons that I've taught them that they still align with, and the patience in the ring, the mindset. They will always have that lesson, which not a lot of other instructors can teach because they've just not been through it enough. So we teach a lot of them lessons, and yeah, they'll always align with BMA, and they will always consider me a coach, whether they're abroad or come back, because they've got them deeper lessons through martial arts, which I love to work with, because it's something which means you've enhanced a student for the rest of their lives off the mat. If you can do that, then you've given that bit of gold forever. I get asked. I work with about 5 or 6 people in the martial arts world. That's it. And I got asked to do a seminar. I got asked 3 seminars in the last 2 months. I says, okay, I'll get back to you. Now, these are big gyms with a lot of champions on the mats, because they want to know what I'm teaching. If I've got some like European champions in record breaking time, I says, I'll get back to you. So what I do is, I want to see who's on your mat. So I'll go and do a bit of research. I see who's on the mat. If your mat is full of this
Yeah, I get
and
it.
this,
I get it.
I ain't going to come to your mat, because I want to see who's on your mat. If your mat is full of public security personnel, kids, you're teaching kids, or humble people that are champions, whether you've got 10 people on that mat or 150 people on another mat, and you're going to give me a lot of money, I won't go to that mat, because
Wow.
at the end of the day, I didn't spend 15 years in the martial art world to give my martial arts to some gyms which I know are going to use it for the wrong reasons. I want to give it to kids, and I want to give it to people that are going to use it properly on the streets, not in the wrong way, because it happens too much. I don't have it at my gym, and I won't have it at any other gym either. So there's
Brilliant.
different mats out there. People think, oh, it's a martial art gym. There's different mats out there,
Mm.
and it's from the culture, it's from the coach. And I don't judge anybody. Some people might look at me and go, if I've kicked somebody out of the gym, I said, you're not suitable for my gym. I don't judge you. It doesn't mean that I won't see you outside of the gym and have a chat and a coffee with you. Each to their own. Everybody's got their own bills to pay. I'm not there to judge you, but I don't want my juniors looking up to you. So that's how I sort of run things, really.
It's beautiful, because it shows you've got, I don't know, there's so many things about you which are, integrity is one of them, and there's a side note to that as well, and there's a flip side to that. You might go into a gym and it says they're all shooting up and they're all snorting. But if you walked into that gym and you spent maybe an hour and shared some of that wisdom, who knows that they might change their ways because of that. So that could be a lovely thing. But I do understand you. I'm the same. I won't go to certain circles if I believe it's filled with ego. And it's not just that though, Nico. I think what it mainly is that you know when to use your energy and when it's wasted.
Yeah. Well, like the other day, we had there was a guy who's about 20 years old, and his mate said, I overheard the conversation. I'm always listening. He said, he got in a fight in town the other day. Bam, 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 beat two guys up. I went, hey, up here we go. I says, oh, go on then. Tell me what happened. Because I was smiled, see what happened. He says, oh, yeah, this happened. I said, all right, was it self-defense, was it? There were two of them. You've been here 6 months. What happened? He says, oh, he said this, that, and the other. I says, he said words, did he? He said words. I said, let me tell you something. In my world, mate, we don't react to words. We use words. That's a big part of martial arts. I said, so you went out there and battered two kids. I says, okay, fair enough. I says again, get in the cage. You're gonna go in there. You're gonna go with the brown belt for 3 hard-minute rounds. And they said, he's panicking. Oh, I says, how do you feel, mate? How do you feel now? He says, oh, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I went, do you think them two lads you just beat up what to get beaten up using my martial arts to beat them up? He says, no, sorry, Nico, I won't do it again. I says, look, you want to be a cage fighter, don't you? I says, you think my cage fighters go out there and beat civilians up? Think about it. I said, don't think it's cool to be bad, mate. I says, I know bad. I've had them down here. I says, I'm not a gangster, but I know all of them. I know all of them. They all know me, international gangsters. And I'll tell you something, they don't want to be bad anymore. They want to be good like me, because bad gets you nowhere. Bad gets you in prison with your eyes open all night long, thinking who's going to come in and throw acid on me. I says, don't be bad, be good, be humble. This is what we're about. Do you understand? So, we talk about these lessons and stuff like that through martial arts, but for the most part, it's just trying to get them, like you say, integrity, honor, and respect. And I could go to some gyms and I could speak like that, but for the most part, some people just need to go through it themselves and learn it and realize that bad's not good. And a lot of those people eventually will get to this point anyway. If
Yeah.
they're in this game for long enough, they will
Yeah.
get to this point.
Well, you just
If
need.
they are like that, they'll be gone in a few years and they won't be back. So
Yeah. I mean, there's one thing that bothers me, but then it kind of makes me realize all the mafiosos of New York and America, they're all on podcasts now talking about who they hit and who they killed and this and that. But now I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm a better person, and don't do these things. It's not good for you and all that. I find that a bit strange how those very famous mafioso, number twos, are all over the internet, being kind of shown as heroes. I find that bizarre when you've got the average good father who looks after his kids and stays out of trouble. Seems to be nobody these days. It seems to be the opposite, eh? Bad seems to be revered, and the black screen kind of like the rapper scene and how they speak, and the P Diddy's and all that, and although one might be hung out to dry by the system, but predominantly
yeah, I mean, I feel like people are really starting to appreciate martial art coaches more these days. I really do feel like it's that. I feel like they're starting to appreciate martial art coaches more these days, especially with the way the world's going with knife crime and stuff. I think that's the law that gets them in. They go, okay, this guy's talking about anti-knife crime with kids. That gets them in. And then they go, right, what else is he doing? And then he's going, there's more to this punching and kicking, isn't there? He's teaching them fundamental lessons, which the schooling system, as you say, can't teach and stuff. But, you know, in this world, you're only as loud as your money or your credentials, aren't you? You know, I've said it 1,000 times. Through my doors, I've had world and European champions come down teaching stuff, and I've had people who've never taught. And some of the wisest martial artists that I've ever met that
Yeah.
you wouldn't know have taught better. But people don't listen as much because they're only interested in the colours. But I look beyond the colours. I don't give a shit about colours. That's why I met good champions, because I want to see what you've got. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. And at the end of the day, I do my thing in Halifax, and that suits me. As I said, I've got open invites to go to Dubai, Thailand tomorrow to teach, but I'm not interested. Maybe one day at some point I will. But
Mm.
my name as a coach gets carried around Europe by my students competing. You know, they go, who's in your competitors' corner? 4-time world champions. Who's your coach? Nico from Halifax. My name gets built up like that. I'm happy with that. I don't care about being, known. They don't might not know my face, but they'll know my name. So that'll do me. And I play my little part in Halifax, and it's growing and it's showing. But for the most part, look, it's as simple as this. It's as simple as this. A couple lads at the gym the other day, they were saying, you've seen this guy on Instagram, he's got like 500,000 followers.
Yeah. Yeah.
500,000. Look at this technique. I showed you that technique last week, mate. He's got
Right.
500,000 followers. So what? Yeah, but is this champion? Let me tell you something. Some of the most dangerous, wisest martial artists and people I've ever met, they are not on social media.
Exactly.
They're
They
working
don't.
behind the scenes with the SAS. They're working
Mm.
behind the scenes
Yeah.
with some of the highest security public personnel on the planet, or the Pentagon in America. They're not on. They're not on there. Or another one is this: they're too wise. They're not interested in social media. Yeah, they might come and do podcasts and stuff like this. They're just not interested. I said,
Right. Too
don't worry
smart.
about it. Don't get confused with this,
Well,
likes and stuff.
it's fame. It's fame. Starstruck. That's what Black Screen
Mm,
does. It pulls you into that world. It wants people to see, and they want heroes. They're creating heroes, so you
mm.
don't ever become the hero that you are. And you're teaching people to be the hero. So tell us a little bit about why women should come to your gym. What is it you
Yeah.
offer the women?
Well, I think women should do well. Yeah, women should definitely do martial arts for the same reasons everybody else. Let's just be honest. The same reasons everybody else. Health and fitness, self
Mm,
defense. Let's say that. Fair enough. But all the martial art lessons you will get. But and let's just face it. I know for a fact from speaking to my partner and speaking to many other women, they're not like men. We will walk down a dark alley and we will be like, let's look around. Fair enough. We're walking down a dark alley, whatever, right? Women don't walk down a dark alley and think like that. Women shit themselves and think, is there a dodgy guy behind a bush? So I've come to learn that. So despite the anti-rape techniques that there is out there,
mm,
what we teach, despite that, it's just generally a better quality of life, right? Because if you're rolling around with blokes on the floor and submitting them, then you are going to be at least a lot more confident in your life walking around. So for me, I think that's massively liberating.
mm,
So I think it's very important for women. Look, you can go to CrossFit and jump on boxes and get fit and strong, but would you rather come to a martial art gym and learn loads of wisdom and walk down a dark alley and not be scared? Which one do you want to pick? So I know
mm.
what I would pick,
It's
personally.
great.
But it's the same for a bloke. You take all my martial arts skill away, and
Yeah.
if there's three or four people been a bit edgy down a dark alley, and I'm with one of my kids, I wouldn't really like not feeling like I could look after my kids down that alley. I wouldn't like it. But knowing that I've got a very good fighting chance with three or four people down a dark alley with a kid, I'll take that all day long. That's priceless.
Mm.
So I think it's important for everybody.
It seems that way now, Nico, with my friends in London and the knife crime,
Right.
and my clients who are also women who tell me that there's a lot of rape and so on. I don't really want to go too low with this, but it
London's bad.
seems to be an epidemic. So it
London's bad.
it kind of makes, well, I think it's bad everywhere now.
It's bad everywhere,
In
but
UK.
London's bad by a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a worrying situation, and I guess why I'm saying that is because there's no real. It's not a trick question. It's like you should be going and learning some kind of martial arts.
Mm.
If not Nico, you should be going somewhere and learning. You have a sister, of course, who teaches
Mm.
women's only martial arts, and then she's growing and growing like you, and doing really well. So I think it seems to be necessary. Although we're not, a lot of people get a bit confused because they think that they're learning this skill to, I don't know. It has sometimes. My feel is, oh no, I don't want to do that. It's too much. It's too heavy. I don't want to hit anybody and punch anybody. But if you're in a corner somewhere and somebody's at you, wouldn't you rather have that skill to defend yourself? I don't.
Again, sorry,
Yeah.
carry on, buddy.
No, go on. No. What do you think?
Again, look, I had a parent said to me, the other week at the gym, let's just say James again. He said, James loves it here, likes the games, he likes the techniques, but he don't quite like the sparring. Not interested in the sparring. They were like, he's a bit nervous for the sparring. I went, we don't go too hard. You don't get punched hard in the face. The chokes are good. And they went, oh no, I don't like it. I went, well, look, the world will hurt James. The world will hurt James. It's our job to hurt him well before the world hurts him, right? In a controlled manner. So if he's intimidated by this, don't you think he's going to be steps ahead, intimidated by the world? Would you not rather have him prepared through a martial art gym before he goes into the wider world? And like, yeah, probably. I went, I think you should just push him to keep coming. I think you should just push him to keep coming because I know he gets a bit intimidated by punches and chokes, which means he's going to be more of a victim out there. You would do him a massive disservice by not bringing him anymore. I really think that. And I'm not just saying it because I want your money. In fact, bring him for free. I don't want your money. Keep bringing him for free. I don't care. I know he needs it. I know he needs it. All kids need to do two things: martial arts and swimming. They're life-saving skills. Please keep bringing him. Even if he doesn't want to spar, we'll introduce him again. Oh, I'm not sure. I went, you're the parents, you know best. But
Yeah.
I think we should keep bringing him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
You can
it's one of those
you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. And at the end of the day, I've found that children now, and the parents especially, we thought that it was a smart move to just let our children do what they want to do, and be gentle with them and don't say anything negative. I'm very much that way. I don't say anything to you. I don't say anything to China, and
No.
I've been lucky. I've ended up with two beautiful children, but there are parents who did the same thing. And those children are absolutely terrified of life, terrified of doing
Yeah.
anything in this world because they're frightened of failure and they're frightened of being hurt. So I think, go on.
I get it. Hugo didn't like to be punched in the face for a while, and he didn't like to punch everyone in the face. So I was the same as a kid. He says, I can't do it. I can't do it. I said, look, you are still 5. So, I took him to one of the woods we go to. We were going to the same wood since he was 2.
No.
We sat on the same rock. I said, this rock's been here thousands of years, son. I said, you see that tree right there in the middle? I says, what do you notice about that tree compared to all the other trees? He said, I don't know what you mean. I went, what do you notice about it? He went, it's moving slower. I went, exactly. I said, that tree's moving slower. I said, what about all the other trees? I went, all them other trees, they don't think they can do it, can they? They're all stressed out, moving fast, fast, fast. I said, that big tree, I said, what else do you notice about the big tree? I said, the big tree's got lots of scars, hasn't it? Big scars. I says, every tree, every year, them scars get bigger because they get more storms. But every storm that tree's been through, this tree moves slower. It's rocked less. It's rocked less. It's been through more stuff. I said, son, that tree is your dad. I said, your dad's been through a lot with your brother. Your dad's been through a lot with the martial art world. But now your dad's the one who can look after his family, his friends, and his students. And in 30 years' time, we're going to come back here, and that's going to be you, that tree. I
Oh.
said, don't worry about it. I went, every bit of pain you get, every lesson I teach you through martial arts, and every bit of pain you get in your life is going to strengthen you. It's going to give you bigger scars, but each scar, the bigger it is a bigger page of a book. And I went,
Mm.
you're going to be the one teaching lessons one day. Whether
Mm.
that's a punch in the face, whether that's someone giving you grief outside, bullying you, it's going to make you bigger and stronger. And each season is a storm, and you're going to be that guy one day.
Nice. It's a lovely way to explain to a child, and bringing forward nature into that is fantastic. I often say that the older the tree, the wiser it is, the more it knows. I remember I was in Ireland, Nico, and I was with an Irish guy who was a carver. He used to carve. He was very famous, but he was in his 90s. And it's funny, he came down, somebody wanted me to meet him, came down his stairs of his farm, and he said, "What did you say?" "Oh, really? Do I need to do that?" And he went back upstairs and came down and put a jacket on. And I said, "Who are you talking to?" He said, "My wife." I said, "Where is she?" He says, "In that picture." And I said, "What did she say?" She says, "I needed to change. I was scruffy." And I'm like, wow. And we went for and he was serious. And he listened to his wife. He put his jacket on and he came down.
Fantastic.
We went for a walk and we sat by a tree, and he said, "You see this tree?" He said, "It's over 500 years old." I went, "Yeah, it's beautiful." He says, "Not just beautiful." He said, "It's got more knowledge of people sat
Yeah,
under the tree, and he's heard more stories, and this tree will give you all the answers that you ever need." And you know, you meet some people who just freaking blow you away and open your
100%.
mind. Yeah, and I think that what you gave to your son is exactly what this beautiful Irishman gave to me. And on that note, Nico, it's been fascinating. I've really enjoyed tonight. Your wisdom is growing every day. You're humble, you're kind, and I think everything that you do is out of love and kindness. There's nothing else. All I see is love and kindness, and I'm very proud of your son. Very proud. Is there anything that you would like to leave all of us who have been listening today? Is there anything that you'd like to leave us on? Any wisdom or anything that you'd like to share about your dojo? Is it called a dojo, or is it an academy, or is it all of the above?
All of the above. Yeah. No, I would just like to say one thing is that
Yeah.
I feel like, your channel is fantastic. You're
Ah,
doing a great job. And one thing that I'm very proud of you for is the fact that you don't. One thing is for sure, you don't care what people think of you. And if you see something that's bad or you think's bad about the world, despite your what you care reputation, whatever, you don't care. You care about helping people, and you'll show that despite being shadow banned, despite what people think of you. You are the pinnacle of somebody who would rather be loved by 10 people for who you are than loved by 1,000 people for someone who you're not. And you could have gone down another road and pretended to be someone you're not, but you are truly honest, and everybody should love you for that, because not everyone's got the courage to be like you.
right. And you're definitely the same as well, Nico. Everything that you say is very, very similar to how I feel. I can relate to everything you say. And I think a lot of people who are watching tonight will relate to it. And those who are watching on playback, they'll relate to you completely. And what I get out of this tonight, and I'll sit down and think about it, is that I take a deep breath and say, there's still hope for this world when we interview somebody like you, and it's like there's still hope. Where in a world of sadness and seeing how it's been destroyed by a system, we see that the thing that makes this world and keeps it going is people like you. So we're very proud of you, Nico, and we hope that you can join us again. I'll link below all the links that you send me with regards to your gym, and hopefully, even if you're passing by West Yorkshire one day, go in and have a chat with Nico, go and have I don't know, a session, if that's possible or not, Nico. Send him a message, email him and tell him you're coming, or, maybe interact with Nico some way. If you've also got if you're a gym owner and you've got nothing but respect for him, and because you kind of relate to the way he is, and free from ego. And if you want to, I don't know, collaborate in some way with something that you feel that would work with Nico, all of the above. I wish all of you a lovely evening. Thank you, Nico. Give my three beautiful grandchildren too, and a big hug, as well as Haley too. And have a beautiful evening, Nico.
Thanks for having me on. Have a great time. Talk soon, Dad. Take care, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.
See you later. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.